Once upon a time, there was a girl named Sarah. She loved to read books, and her favorite place to read was at a cafe in a bookstore. One day, she decided to go to the bookstore cafe to read her new book. As soon as she sat down and opened her book, she was immediately drawn into the story. The characters were so real and the plot was so exciting that she couldn't put it down. She became so engrossed in the book that she didn't even notice the time passing. Suddenly, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She looked up and saw the bookstore owner. "I'm sorry, miss, but we're closed," he said. Sarah quickly gathered her things and headed for the door. But as she left, she felt something hit her on the head. "Ouch!" she cried, rubbing her head. When she looked down, she saw a book lying at her feet. She picked it up and opened it, but instead of words on the page, she saw a swirling vortex. "What the?" she exclaimed as she was sucked into the vortex. She found herself in a strange new world. The sky was purple and the trees were made of candy. She looked around in amazement, wondering where she was. "Welcome to the land of stories," said a voice. Sarah turned around and saw a fairy standing there. "The land of stories. What is that?" Sarah asked. "This is the land where all stories come to life," the fairy explained. "And you, Sarah, have been chosen to go on a quest to save our land from the evil queen, me." "But I'm just a regular girl," said Sarah. "You may be a regular girl, but you have a special talent. You have the ability to get lost in a story," the fairy said. "And that's exactly what we need. The evil queen has taken all the endings of the stories and hidden them. Without the endings, the stories can't be completed and our land will be doomed." "But how can I help?" Sarah asked. "You must find the endings and bring them back to the stories," the fairy said. "But be warned, the evil queen will not make it easy for you. She has sent her minions to stop you." Sarah was hesitant, but with her love for stories, she couldn't let the land of stories fall into the hands of evil queen. She set out on her quest, determined to save the land of stories. She met many characters from different stories along the way. Some helped her and some tried to stop her. She fought giant beasts and outsmarted tricky riddles. But with each ending she found, the closer she got to the evil queen's castle. Finally, Sarah reached the evil queen's castle and faced her in a final battle. It was a fierce fight, but with the help of her new friends and the power of the endings, Sarah was able to defeat the evil queen and restore the stories to their proper endings. The land of stories was saved and Sarah was hailed as a hero. She was given a magical book that would take her back to her own world. "Thank you, Sarah," the fairy said. "You have saved our land and we will always be grateful." "I couldn't have done it without all of you," Sarah said, looking at her new friends. "Farewell, Sarah," the fairy said. "But remember, the land of stories will always be here for you to visit." With that, Sarah opened the magic book and was sucked back into the vortex. She landed back in the bookstore, and the book she had been reading was lying open on the table. She picked it up and flipped to the last page. There was a new ending that she had never seen before. She smiled, knowing that she had helped to make the story complete. As she left the bookstore, she couldn't help but wonder if the land of stories was real or just a dream. But one thing was for sure, the adventure had been real and she would never forget it. From that day on, Sarah couldn't help but get lost in a story whenever she read a book. But now she knew that it was a special power that would take her to new and exciting places. And who knows, maybe one day she would be able to return to the land of stories and go on another quest to save the stories once again.